And welcome back for the final segment of Voices of Santa Barbara today here on KZSB AM 1290. Our special guest is, of course, Assemblyman Kevin Kiley, representing the 6th Assembly District surrounding Sacramento, the only state elected official in the race once Gavin Newsom is recalled during the rest of the month voting. The question I'm getting from the Facebook fans and from people on the street, and the grocery stores, and the cafes, some people are dubious that you can do anything, that anybody could do anything. That, you know what I mean? They've got this idea that we're just stuck in a rut with one party rule, and the governor really can't do anything to affect this thing. So why don't you explain to us, for us, what you think the architecture of the Kevin Kiley gubernatorial administration will be? Just go with it.
Well, as I was saying before, it's going to be there's going to be an imperative for immediate and aggressive action because by the time the recall is over, it'll be a year until the 2022 election. And so I would immediately on day one terminate the state of emergency. I mean, that goes without saying. And that causes all related state and local emergency orders to expire automatically. So that's the first step I would take in essentially unwinding Gavin Newsom's one-man rule. He really loves executive orders, but the thing about executive orders is you can undo them with executive orders. So, for every executive action that Newsom has taken to violate our rights and diminish our freedoms, I take executive action to restore those rights and protect those freedoms.
Right.
And I'd, then seek to rein in all of these menacing state agencies, CARB, the EDD, the Water Board, the Department of Public Health, by giving them a new directive to actually serve the people of California rather than harassing them and trying to run their lives. But at the end of the day, to actually get the sort of sweeping change we need, you do need to work with the legislature. So I would call a special session of the legislature, which will have adjourned for the year by the time the recall is over, and I'll throw down the gauntlet. I'll say that we need to see real action on the core challenges of facing our state: rising crime rates, homelessness, the cost of living, our failing public schools. Because I know the one thing that legislators respond to, having worked in the legislature for 5 years, is political pressure. That is the fear of losing their jobs. And since the governor will have just lost his job, we'll be able to bring that political pressure to bear in order to demand action. And if the legislature refuses, then I'll say, fine, we'll take the issue to voters again in 2022, and you can face the same fate as Gavin Newsom in next year's election.
Will you use what's called the directive powers of the governor? The governor, as we know, can issue directives. I'm not quite clear what directives mean constitutionally in the California constitutional system, but is this sort of like a bully pulpit? Is this sort of like a moral lecture that the governor issues? The word directive is kind of a vague and ambiguous term. So is this something that will be in your toolkit to fix California?
Absolutely. And, the governor presides over the executive branch and all of these just massive state agencies, which is where a lot of the damage is actually done in terms of churning out regulations and entangling themselves in the lives of Californians more and more every year. And so I would appoint new leaders of these state agencies and would issue directives in order to, rein in the state bureaucracy, to tame the state bureaucracy. And, I don't believe in using executive power to create far-reaching new policies. That's what Gavin Newsom has been doing. That's what we've been fighting against him in court for doing, because that's not the way our separation of powers works. But where such policies have already been created by the executive branch, I would not hesitate at all to unwind them in order to restore power back to local levels of government and to the people of California.
So in other words, I think this is very important for people to understand that as governor, you have the choice to keep good people, competent people in their positions, and you have the choice to say bye-bye. You're going to be replaced, and to the new person that you appoint, you're going to say, here are the directives I want you to follow. Now, question. Do your appointments require Assembly and Senate approbation?
So in a lot of cases, no. I mean, you have a lot of appointments that can be made in different political positions throughout the state bureaucracy, and certainly within your own staff. in the governor's office. And so, in some cases there is an appointment requirement. In some cases, a board, for example, some of the slots will be chosen by the legislature and some will be chosen by the governor. But there is a vast appointment power that can be used to put a whole new face on the state bureaucracy.
Is there something, that's a great answer. Is there something like tenure for career appointees in the state bureaucracy? Is that true? I don't know. I'm asking a question of pure.
Yeah, so anyone who's a civil servant in the civil service, which is the vast majority of the employees, they're beyond the reach of the governor's power to appoint or remove. They're protected by the civil service laws, but it's the political leadership that you can replace.
The political leadership that you can replace. Interesting. So the career people can only be removed by acts of God. And since as governor, you're not going to be God, you can't remove those people, right? Interesting. Exactly. Anything else that you think you can do to, you're certainly a very articulate individual. The camera likes you, the microphone likes you, you have good communication skills. And the most impressive thing about you is the vox populi, the voice of the people. Your campaign for the assembly was based upon that. Your campaign to recall Newsom is based upon that, and your campaign for governor it's all centralized on that. So, is there any other weapon in your toolkit that you think you can and will use as governor, so that people will be motivated to remove Newsom, number one, and then vote for you?
Well, yeah, I think you just hit upon it. It's the power to persuade. It's the bully pulpit. And so, certainly we're using that in the campaign here, but even as governor, if the legislature is frustrating what you're trying to do and is standing in the way of implementing, the call for change that the recall represents, then I would, speak directly to the people of the state. And I would make an example of any legislators who are working against the people and say that, this is someone you need to vote out in the next election. So I would very actively be continuing to make my case to the people of California.
When you're elected, you'll be the first millennial governor of the state of California, right? Isn't that true?
I guess so. Yeah. I guess I don't know if that's a good distinction or a bad one. But
well, I mean, you should make a commercial just for the millennials and say, look, you guys got to get back of me, and you got to help me out here.
I like that a lot. Yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you for spending the last 40 minutes with us. I know it was an arduous thing, but I really want to thank you. I have, full disclosure, invited the other top tier candidates, the three of them. So far, none of them have accepted. So I really want to thank you for graciously spending the time and making the time to speak to the people of the Central Coast of California. I wish you luck, and I hope to have you back on the show after you are elected.
All right. I'll look forward to it. Thanks so much, Mark.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.